Yeah, hi friends, Doc South here. What is this now? This is June 28th. 28th. We're another two days in June and then July. And I've got, well, if I seem a little more nervous than normal, it's because my car has to be inspected by the end of July. Yes, not June. Oh, and it's nowadays the state I'm in, New Jersey. Actually, inspection isn't that bad. You only get hollered at once or twice when you go in. In fact, most cases, people are pretty nice in the inspection station. Yeah. And but the thing is, there was a time. There was a time when going into to get your car inspected in the Great Garden State was, well, you're pretty much taking your life in your hands. Number one, there weren't that many stations, inspection stations, and they were only so big. And there's a lot of people in the state. You know, it's a big state. It was population-wise, pretty big state, and almost any given time there'd be a line, that would take you an hour or so to get through before you finally got into the station itself. and and then when you got there, you wished you hadn't. You really, you'd be just shaking from the well, it would be quite abusive in there. It isn't anymore. It isn't anymore. No, nowhere near what it was. If you've ever been to boot camp, it reminded me a lot of getting into boot camp. Only you didn't have to get naked, to get your uniform and all that. And I don't think they were allowed to make you do push-ups, but it wouldn't hurt sometimes to do 25, just to calm the guy down who's checking your window, your front window with a magnifying glass to see if you can find a crack and flunk you. And then if you flunk, you got like 2 weeks to get it all figured out, and you had to come back, and they're going over it even worse, and or they find something else that's wrong with your car. Oh my gosh, I remember I had the wrong tail light or something on a car I had, and oh my God, you couldn't get it was an old car. Where are you going to get one? They didn't care. Get one. You do a few push-ups and leave, with a big flunk sticker on it. And of course, everybody looking at that and pointing and laughing. Cops, pulling you over. I saw your inspection sticker. It said you flunked. You still got 2 days. Well, you better get it done. I got my eyes on you. Oh my gosh, it was awful to go inspection. And I think back then you had to go every year. Yeah. Oh. Now, honestly, you can make an appointment. They're very nice on the phone. You go through, bada bing, bada boom. And most cases, yeah, I know a little bit of rust on your car. Oh, no. Get back when that rust is off, sucker. Okay, yes, yes. Well, I remember one time I had an MG. I was just out of the, I was just out of the Navy. Again, I wasn't not really a long time veteran of the Navy or anything. I was only in a little while, but I was out, had gotten through boot camp, and so I felt like I could take it. Yeah. I'd been yelled at by experts, Navy chiefs, best yellers in the world. Oh, I think there must be a course they take. There's got to be, because actually, once you see them outside of the service, they're pretty nice guys. But when you're an apprentice seaman, oh. But so I'm in line. I had an MG. I had enough money to buy a secondhand MG, 61 MG, real pretty little car, sports car, yeah. And boy, that put up the red flags. And I was young, was growing my hair a little long, and I had it, basically shaved when I was in the Navy, and so I was letting it grow. Go into and I had just gotten married. I was married maybe a year or so, and a pretty wife, Molly, and Well, I took the car in, for inspection. It was down in Morristown. They had an inspection station. Waited in line, nervous about looking at my engine oil, engine water heating up a bit. Brakes weren't so hot, but that's all right. Look, they'd been working, they'd been working, and the so I so I'm in line. I'm getting screamed at for the headlights weren't right. I'm getting screamed at. There's a little speck on my brake light. There's turn signals worked okay, and I showed him my new hand signals. But at one point it was looking a little iffy, a little bit of a short. I get, and I'm again. It's like actually a descent into hell to go into the inspection station. I don't, they had like pitchforks. They'd get you in. Come on, hey, move. Okay, yes, sir. Yeah, and it must have been all drill sergeants and chiefs in there. Retired ones, having a little. Maybe they even paid to do the job. Didn't get paid. They paid to do it. But anyway, so I finally get to this spot where they check your brakes. Now, you young folks might not realize, but at one time, you'd have to get out of the car, and one of the inspectors would get into your car, and he'd run at the, he'd rev up the car, peel out, and there was like a grid, and he would stop on that grid, and then there was what looked like gas pumps. Old-fashioned gas pumps would have like thermometers in them. And depending on how those thermometers rised, the red fluid in those thermometers rose, or the red indicator in those, that showed if your brakes were working. And if for some reason they didn't, the red, the columns didn't turn red, well, you flunked, and you had to go get your brakes done. You had 2 weeks to do it. Yeah. Okay. Well, so I pull up and I look, and my heart just stopped. I'm at the edge of that grid. And I look, and there's a guy. He's actually, remember in George C. Scott at the start of that movie Patton? I think Patton came, as Patton, George C. Scott comes out with that speech, and he's got the riding breeches, and I think a riding crop. This guy, just like that. Yeah, I did. I think he must have been a retired motorcycle cop or something, policeman. Yeah. And so I don't like calling policemen cops. It's not respectful. But yeah, policeman. And he had like a captain's hat on, with the visor and all that. I realized he was the head of the station. He was like a general in there, and he looks over my MG, again a beautiful little '61 MG, secondhand. He's looking at it. Get out of the car. God, love a duck. And he's tall. He's like a foot taller than me. He's like, I'm saying 6'8". Yeah. The guy, yeah, he walked with like a swagger. Yeah. I expected, well, in fact, he did say, where are your papers? Let me look this over. Okay. So far you've passed, but you got to pass the brake test. I said, okay, go ahead. He gets in the car. His feet are too long. He's mad about that. I said, well, you can push the seat back. It isn't far enough. How am I supposed to do this? I'll do it. No, you won't. Get out of my way. And he goes running for, like, revs the engine. The pedal, gas pedal on an MG is about this big. Yeah. And so he's having trouble finding it. The brake pedals are only about like that. And they're close together. And I think what may have happened when he revved out, when he popped the clutch and went running I think he may have thought he had the brake pedal, but I think he may have stepped on the clutch. That or the brakes failed. Yeah, they might have. It was an old car. And all I know is he had it up to about 15 miles an hour, really peeled out. And he went right off the grid. Yeah, luckily no one was in front of him. Whoever it was in front of me flunked and was leaving. Okay, and tears in his eyes, holding his head, from the lumps he got, and with the nightstick. And so he's out of the way. This guy goes rolling right past that, right out onto, I think it's Hanover Avenue, where there were all these cement trucks going by at about 40 miles an hour. And the guy managed to go, the commander managed to go right between the cement trucks, across the entire road and into the bushes across the road. Oh, and then he gets out of the car. Oh, man, you should have seen the look. And he didn't run to me. No, I stood there and just watched him walk slowly to me, much like it may have looked to a bad guy to watch Matt Dillon coming at you for the gunfight. Yeah. Oh, my God. Oh, friends, he got a hold of me. He didn't know. He got up to me and he verbally got a hold of me. He didn't really. I don't think he lived. I blacked out a little. Maybe he threw me around the place a little. I'm not sure. But the long story short, I had 2 weeks to get that done. Well, I'm not gonna use profanity to tell you how much he put down my poor little MG. I had better, those brakes had better work this time, or by God, he's going to tie me to the front bumper and test the brakes again, a third time if he has to. And oh my God, I got the brakes fixed, but I remember the mechanic saying, this is an old car. What you do is if your brakes fail, you kind of, we can get the brakes to work pretty good, but he says, God, it's old. What do you? So, things happen. He says, he was trying to tell me was, this guy maybe hit the wrong pedal or whatever, And I said, oh my God, I got to go face him again. In fact, I think he marked the times he was going to be there. Yeah, and I had to be, it was, it wasn't good. But you know what happened? Again, my first wife, she's looking. I'm laying in bed the night before inspection, all sweaty, shaking, and she says, "What's the matter?" I said, "I got to go for the inspection." And she says, "Well, I'll go." I said, "But he'll rip you apart." He said, "No," she says, "Hey, it'll be all right." And so she goes the next day. She's gone about an hour. She comes back whistling a tune, and she's still in the car. I said, well, how'd it go? She says, well, look at your window. I said, you gotta pass on it. A pass? Hey. She says, yeah. And with that, she gets out of the car. She had the shortest miniskirt on you ever saw in your life. But yeah. It was modest, but it was short. Yeah. And she had nice legs, I gotta say. And doggone. She said, a guy was butter in my hands. Putty in my hands, she said. I said, well, I'll be doggone. Yeah, he was so nice. He said he'd seen this car before and admired it and all that. I said, well, I'll be doggone. So from then on, whenever it was inspection time, send her. She could have had a business. Her and a few other girls getting people's cars through inspection. I doubt that, yeah. So it works. I am just saying. But now they're down to computers. The computer says yes, the computer says no, that's it. Yeah. So, those were the days. Yeah, well, it was the 60s. Things were starting to open up. Okay. Anyway, friends, have a good one. I'll see you later. I hope you've got, at least 23 months till your next inspection and a big old pass on your window, okay? We'll see you later. Thank you, and God bless.